I'd like to welcome you to Williams Island TV and thank you for joining us. We have a number of great interviews today to go through, and we want to keep you up to date with everything that's going to be happening on the island. As you know, we're in the throes of building the clubhouse out, redoing it. We've opened up the cafe that's here now, courtside. And for those of you that you're going to watch this, you will not believe how many people are out here today. We purposely wanted to film here to give you an idea of one of the amenities, one of many amenities that we have to offer on the island. We have our annual meeting coming up in December. We have our committees that will be starting right after the first of the year. And we want you to participate in everything we're doing here. We want you to be careful with what's going on. We want you to realize that we have security to protect the island as best as we can. We've increased security. We've answered all of the requests that we've had from the people, and we just want you to all feel a part of things. I want to thank the board of directors because the support that they've given us this year has been amazing. We've been able to accomplish just looking at the cafe, looking at the new pro shop, the new offices, just what's going on here as we sit here and talk today. We have the annual meeting coming up, which will be for the new election of the offices. We don't know to date who or what will be there, but we're hoping that everything stays as such, but we have a lot of exciting things coming up for 2024. We want your participation, we want your involvement, and we want you to enjoy this island. It's your island, it's all for you here. And I think today when we let you meet some of the people that are here and some of the events that we have going on for the coming next few months, just like we had the opening night party where we had Welcome Back, we had almost 500 people here. It was amazing, and it was beautifully done. This is all for you. As I said, when we did our financial, we just finished our budget for the year. We will be finishing on a positive note. We're in the best financial condition the island has been in years. We will be completing our construction of all our new capital improvements with no assessments needed for the island. As we promised you, it will continue, and we have so much more planned. So we just want you to enjoy, and most of all, we have the holidays coming up. We won't be doing another taping before the end of the year, so I want to wish you a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and just enjoy everything that we have here for you. It's all for you. This is your island. It's your home. And just be safe, enjoy it, have a happy and healthy holiday, and most important, a happy and healthy New Year. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome you this afternoon. We have a lot of fun today. We have some great people to interview, but because of what's going on with the economy in the world today and what's going on with, obviously, world events, how all of this is affecting the economy, how it's affecting the stock market, how it's affecting investment strategies, I thought it would be interesting to bring one of our residents today onto the TV. Lonnie Golnick from Gordon Investments is, I guess you'd say, an independent investment advisor, but he's also involved with economy. He's written a book or two. So we're not here to talk politics. We're not here to talk about trying to get clients. We're here to talk about what is going on, how world events are affecting the market conditions, how the Fed Reserve's tactics have helped, whether the interest rate increases has really benefited the economy, whether it's cut back inflation, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to introduce Lonnie to the island. You may have seen him. He's also one of our more formidable tennis players. He's on the finance committee of the Williams Island, and he's my neighbor, our neighbor. So, Lonnie, the first thing I'd like to ask you is just tell us a little about how you got into the financial world. A little about you, where you went to school, where you grew up. So
I started out, as a kid, like at 13 at baseball card shows. I was a dealer at the Nassau Coliseum.
Not a dealer in a casino.
No, but in ninth grade, I started bookieing. Like, I was always a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. When I was in college, my mother, would always be like, what are you going to do? She sent me articles about being a stockbroker, this and that. Coming out of college, though, I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to sell. I was a salesman. my family sold their business, so I was left to find my own way, right? So one morning or night, a light bulb went off in my mind, like, no one's responding to my resumes. It was a nightmare. It was just, terrible.
Okay, so not to drop, but when you say resumes, where were you sending them, and in what profession was it in?
Google, Sun Microsystems, Microsoft.
As a salesperson?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to sell.
Gotcha.
So to make a long story short, I had enough with the resumes, no one getting back to me. I was like, if I just sell these companies, I can work for them. And I can wake up any morning and work for any company that I want to work for without the resume if I was a stockbroker. So to make a long story short, I took my 7. I passed that at a local broker-dealer. I was going to head over to like a Morgan Stanley or a big broker-dealer. But I looked at the numbers. This is 1997, 98. The kids were making a lot of money. So I was like, I'm going to give this a year. And I ended up doing very well at the firm. I stayed there for a year. They promoted me to a managing director. I was a sales manager of New York City's office. Long story short, the CEO makes a phone call. Dr. Phil Frost will be consolidating all his businesses down. And my CEO said, come with me to Miami. And my wife went to University of Miami. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a ride. I'll take a shot. So that's how I ended up down here. Ironically, I was on Williams Island on her parents' boat when they got married. It was a rainy day. We went to Aventura Mall, and we had just gotten married. And I'm leaning on a kiosk while my wife's shopping, and it's a real estate guy. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this 40 grand that's in my bank account, right? And so I was like, I'll buy beachfront property. Like, I can't go wrong there. So I ended up buying in the beach club just to flip it. I got the phone call 2 years later when that was closing. So I moved into that. And then, ironically, my wife was like, hey, we're going to need to send the kids to school. I can't be stuck in an elevator. And that apartment was for rent, or the house, the Villa Flora house. And I rented the 2 properties that I had ended up with on Beach Club, paid for the rent of that. I put into the contract an option to buy. 3 years later, the corner unit sold for like $1.5 million more than what my option was. So I sold those, bought that, ended up here, and now, I'm living the dream.
But
that's in a nutshell.
But how did you get into the financial world?
So the financial world for me was just something where, where we go back to like when I was like, okay, I could sell and I could work for any company that I want in the world. Then I went to a broker-dealer in Long Island at the time just to get my Series 7. And then once I passed my Series 7, I took my Series 65, 9, 10, 24, real estate, insurance, behavioral finance, certified in blockchain technology. So I do whatever.
Did you go with a firm, or you just went out on your own?
I went with a firm, a local firm. And then as things have transpired and changed, in the world, there was an opportunity for me to break off and create Gordon Wealth, which is my middle name. Lonnie Gordon Ogolnik Wealth didn't have a good ring, but Gordon Wealth did. So when I broke off and became an independent advisor, that was where my opportunity lied, in the face of like, I don't listen to Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley. A lot of these people, they have to say their talking points. I'm just going to focus on what is going to make people money.
All right. So in your thinking, Bob Shelley comes to you and says, I want to give you X amount of dollars and handle my estate.
Okay.
In today's world, in the last 24 months as well, with what's going on with the feds, with the increases, where it's the fastest increases they've ever had in such a short period of time, do you think, obviously their goal was curb inflation. That was the purpose of the increases. Feds only have one tool in their toolbox, and that's interest rates. Do you think it's really done well? Has it accomplished what it's accomplished? Do you think it's tapering to the point where sometime in the third, fourth quarter next year, rates start to come back down again?
To answer your last question, yes, I do think they start to come down. I do think that the Fed's done. The Fed historically has a pretty much of a hands-off in an election year. They don't want to be meddling. The downside of the Fed is a couple of years ago, we're not even thinking about raising interest rates. That caught a lot of investors flat-footed and offsides, because what that did was kept people in riskier assets, and those riskier assets got hit hard. but it was a double-edged sword because those who were in treasuries, maybe a 10-year treasury, they got hit hard too because as rates go up, bonds go down.
Stuck.
Right, so you saw a lot of bank failures. What they did do is they created a recession, but that was last year, right? Historically, 2 negative GDP quarters back to back are always called a recession. But the people who call the recession, they hung their hat on, but unemployment's low, so we're not going to call it a recession this time. But between the stock market crashing, the bond market crashing, and real estate sort of freezing up at this point, except for maybe this little corridor in Miami, the Fed pretty much has done their job, in my opinion. Whether they went too far, that's going to be, will remain to be seen. In the private real estate market, there's a lot of fake mark-to-market situations going on. A lot of real estate situations, as you would probably know, they're in much tougher situations. There's a freezing up of liquidity, right? Real estate's not liquid. You call me today and sell Microsoft, we can sell Microsoft, as many shares as you want. You want to call me up to sell your 30-year treasury bonds, you can sell as many as you want. You want to sell your commercial real estate, could be 3 years from now.
Yes.
It's a tough, tough business. So that commercial and residential real estate market is where I would say that's the toughest.
But would you say, okay, the interest rates started going up.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was in 23, 22, 23. And it went up fast. It went up 4.5, 5.5 basis points.
Yeah. In a year.
In a year, which was usually, that's uncalled for. And when I say uncalled for, in the sense that it's never happened before that quickly. And I don't think it's going to come down as fast as it went up, obviously. No. But at the same token, the pandemic obviously was the impetus because it cut production. You couldn't get a car, couldn't get an electronic product, you couldn't get a refrigerator. There was no production of anything anywhere in the world.
Right.
Now, when the economy started to go back a little bit, people had a demand for these items. It was a supply and demand. There was nothing to buy. So the prices went up if you could even find it.
Right. China cutting off their supply chain.
Everything.
Yeah.
So it's not a political thing. It's a reality thing of supply and demand is really what happened.
100%.
Now you couple that with interest rates going up and it affects, like you said, I mean, I'm involved with the city, so I see these projects that were scheduled to be built. And all of a sudden their rates went from 3.5 to 8.5. They stopped the project. They can't do it.
Right.
So my feeling is, I want your opinion, I don't think the commercial world has seen the end of the effects yet. And I don't think that changes because, as an example, in Manhattan, your commercial real estate is dying. People aren't going back to work, or if they are, it's half the crew. The stores are half empty on Madison Avenue. And I think that's the part that's going to take longer. Yes, the price of bananas will come down, eggs will come down, but the commercial and a lot of some of the residential, if you're depending on a mortgage, wouldn't you say those are the areas that get hit the hardest?
Yeah. Your real estate market, you would know better than me, but what I've witnessed in real estate financial crises over time is the banks do workout deals, right? So if there's a major calamity in the real estate market, they'll just extend the loan, they'll change the loans. So they'll paper over it, pretend and extend. They'll pretend that there's not a problem and they'll extend the loans. So they'll have ways to push that out on the calendar. What I'm seeing right now, though, is a thrust in the equity market like I haven't seen in quite some time. So we've been in a 2.5-year brutal bear market for growth stocks. Mm-hmm. You've had these 7 stocks that have lifted this year, pretty much the entire market. Let's not forget, Meta was $80 from $320. Now it's back to $320. But that was a painful slide. I would say right now, we're probably positioned for a very strong equity market because nobody expects that. A lot of people are very happy and comfortable sitting in a 2-year treasury bond right now. We were able to get 5.5% over the last year.
Now, and that's what I was going to ask you. As an advisor.
Yes.
And there's no secret sauce to any of this because we know in this world, tomorrow morning it changes overnight. What do you tell your client? Do you take your 5.5 and just enjoy your life?
Yeah.
Or do you start buying a combination of that and equities, which, the NASDAQ stocks were affected the most by interest. But for some reason, and I ask you the question, those have done the best in this last year at the highest interest rates. And yet, when the interest was going up, they did the worst. How does this happen?
So it's all based on leverage. So the reason why everything dropped, everything from equities to bonds to real estate in that type of fashion, is many people take on a large position and then they use margin and leverage. So you had a global margin call. So when you have a global margin call, that's forced selling, there's forced liquidations. So that's what we basically went through last year while everything was rolling over. I'm much more of a technical advisor. I like technicians. I don't think the opinions of people matter much. I think we want to interpret what the market's telling us, not what some talking head on CNBC is saying.
So what is the market telling you to tell your clients?
Today?
Yes.
Well, right now I would say, look, any client that I would speak to, you're looking at a four-prong approach to the market. A, what dollar amount can you not part with, can you not lose? So you have a very, very nice fixed indexed annuity product right now, or principal protection product right now out of Citibank, whatever, Goldman. But a fixed indexed annuity will give you, let's just say, a product like you have no risk on your capital. If the S&P 500 goes up 0.01%, you're at 8.75% return on the year, right? It's better than a bond alternative. You can get a 40 or 50% participation rate with the S&P, no downside risk, right? So that's for your client that A, wants no risk. You couple that with maybe a bond ladder. You take a 2-year, a 6-month, a 1-year short-term ladder, and you buy that, you can get you were last week getting 5% across that curve. It's now down. I think the rates are in the 4s now. That's your conservative tranche, right? Then you might want to look at some preferred securities for a little higher yield. JP Morgan preferreds are going to get you 6-7%.
And what about the equity market, though?
So then you take the tranches, and then you have clients that say, okay, I'm willing to speculate with 40%, 20%, 10% of my overall assets. And with that, you have an exciting future ahead of you. You have the birth of an asset class. Literally, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, are being birthed into existence as we speak, right? Bitcoin's going to have an ETF probably by January, maybe March, right?
It's gone crazy.
It's going to go
from 18 to 40 somewhat all of a sudden.
So we've never in our life seen the birthing of an asset class. We've seen the birthing of an ETF. When gold in 2002, there was an ETF. It went from $45 to $170 in 5 years. That gold ETF, right?
So what you're really saying in a nutshell
AI is changing the world.
The average investor, let's say they want that 60-40 split, 50-50 split, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
You have your Ferrari account and you have your Buick account. Your Buick account makes sure you have enough money to live, and your Ferrari account is where you play and hope that that's the growth. Is that really what I'm hearing?
I like to call it Cadillac Escalade.
Okay.
But yes, you do have your Cadillac Escalade, you have your Ferraris. It has to be a few different tranches, and you have to have what I believe is, for anybody investing in the stock market, that money should not be money you need. It should be the money that you need tomorrow, next year, next week. There's going to be volatility, but big picture, you could see a 50, 100, 1,000% type return on that tranche of your money.
So you're doing this 20 years, let's say?
Right.
In the 20 years you're doing it,
Yes.
would you say this is the most challenging you've seen in the economics?
Without a doubt, by far and away, last year was the most challenging year I've ever seen in my career. And I've been through 9/11, the dot-com crash, COVID, 2017. But last year you got hit not just by the right, but by the left. Normally, your modern portfolio theory would tell you a 60-40 allocation is a great allocation, because if your equities get hit, your bonds will do okay. Or if your bonds get hit, your equities will do okay.
60-40 is 60% safe,
60% equities, 40% bonds. Yeah.
So that's based on someone's risk tolerance.
Yeah. Harry Markowitz won a Nobel Prize on that thought process. If you just diversify and stay safe, you're okay. Now, I have a big problem with that strategy. I don't love that strategy unless you're dollar cost averaging every month. If you're not dollar cost averaging into that strategy every month, you could end up 3 or 4 years with, like we're in right now. If you invested 2 years ago you're underwater and you're probably not a year or two away from being money. So how long as an advisor can you withstand a client not making money in a 60-40 where the advisor's making money?
Okay, but yet in the last 18 months, you've probably had one of the best equity markets.
Stock picker's market.
Right. I
You
mean,
have to have a stock picker.
But if you went with, let's stay with the NASDAQ for the moment.
Okay.
I believe. And you have your 7 or 8s, the Amazons, Google, whatever. You've probably done better than you've probably done in the last 10 years prior to that.
Yes.
In such a short period.
Yes. I mean, the NASDAQ has come back from dipping, but that's why I say if you're going to dollar cost average, that's an important component of it. What happens in a drawdown year like last year is many clients, they will panic at the low. They will panic in October 31st of this year when there's a war breaking out and everything's crashing because they get scared and fearful at the exact moment when they should be buying.
Right.
So that's, it's
Well, most people are not contrarian buyers. That's why.
right.
We are the sheep.
Right.
AI and the computers trade the market.
Right.
And we go along with what we see.
Right. So back to your question, if you're going to buy the Qs, set a dollar amount and forget it. Dollar amount every month into that. If you're going to move into the equity curve, right, you're going to buy stocks. I have a very specific rule, and I break it only for the big names like Google, Amazon, Meta. If a stock drops between 7 to 12%, I generally don't want to be in it. Something's happening. The only time I've ever been an investor in a stock is when it went the wrong way, and now I'm like, but I'm a long-term holder. I don't want, it's like a garden. I don't want weeds that are growing that are no good. I want fresh apples in my portfolio at all times.
Okay, so talking about fresh apples, I like that. I was just reading something in Barron's this weekend.
Right.
And they're talking about one of the areas to go into that's going to be the hottest areas, and they feel in the industries, will be the weight loss bio stocks.
Eli Lilly,
They are
Novo
going,
Nordisk.
this is becoming, it's taking the world by storm, so to speak. It's almost like the .com was. AI is doing the same thing.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you have 3 or 4 of these stocks that are going crazy. The question is this something you agree with? Is this something you go along with?
Well, I'll say half jokingly that if it's in Barron's cover, sell it.
Okay.
Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly, not so much as Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk has had one of the most epic runs
Yes.
over the last 2 or 3 years you could ever see, right?
Correct.
And if you were in it, you made a fortune of money. Coming in now, when everybody's competing and you have a lot of competition, there's probably more risk to it, but there's a lot of legs to that. Whether that's healthy or not, I'm not a doctor. Injecting yourself with something that makes you lose weight and makes you feel good is an amazing invention, but what are the long-term ramifications?
Well, it's also, someone said it's so true. You don't care what a stock did in the past, what's it going to do now?
Right. So,
And that's the whole issue. Is have these stocks seen their run, or is there still legs to go?
So let's shift over to something that I feel a little bit more comfortable in talking about rather than biotech.
Okay, talk to me about energy while you're doing this.
Well, first I want to go to the AI.
Please.
So you've got stocks like AMD that all but crippled Intel. They just were faster, better, and cheaper.
Right.
They're coming after NVIDIA today. They just locked up a couple of companies. Not financial advice. Don't go running and buying AMD, but
I know.
AMD and NVIDIA are basically the brains in everything, whether it's cars, weapons, you name it. So the future is going to be a situation where you and I are going to be doing this interview in the future, in the metaverse, where you'll be your house, I'll be your house, but we can sit like this and it'll look like us here. So there's such a big, vast world. So those chips, AMD and NVIDIA, even Intel, those will continue to power the world. AI is really just a metaphor for robotics.
But it's been around a while. People
Yes.
just don't realize it.
No, it's enhancing right now.
Yes,
And
exactly.
there's probably a push, right, to change the narrative a little bit. Crypto and Bitcoin isn't like that favorable in the political sphere. It really is a push against the banking system.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like that. We like AI. It's fresh. It's new. It's exciting. But all these things that are being birthed, you got to stay optimistic. You got to be positive on America. It always comes back, no matter who's president or whatever. It always comes back. So it's going to be an interesting thing. As far as energy goes, you mentioned energy. We have a lot of energy in this country.
But what about the alternative energies? What about gas?
So it's going to be moving in the direction. It looks like Tesla's in the lead.
Yep.
All the other companies that are attached to Tesla now through their grid and their battery system, they've basically built the infrastructure for the battery. So in 10 years from now, we can be living in a world where gas stations no longer exist, or they do on a smaller scale. And Tesla could be the biggest company in the world based on the fact that they built the entire grid.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because Tesla started out the front runner and doing the best of all of them. They all jumped on the bandwagon, but little by little, they're all falling off because they're not selling what they thought they would sell. Somehow there's a sex appeal to Tesla. I have friends that have them, and it's almost like they say, it's my man cave. Right. I get in my car, it's my man cave.
I got a better story for you. I went shopping. My daughter, she's now driving.
Yeah.
I went shopping for cars. By far and away. I mean, $500 for a brand new 2023 Tesla was the best game in town. It was the best deal.
No question.
No gas stations. I don't want her sitting on Biscayne Boulevard at 9 o'clock at night.
I agree.
Yeah. So I got her the Tesla. She absolutely loves it. And, it's a great deal. He's the only car dealership right now that's dropping prices like that is Tesla. It's wild.
I know.
.
So what does the next year look like for Lonnie?
Positive. Very positive.
So you're telling your customers what? What do you believe the next year is going to be? Interest rates, I don't know, but I would assume they're going to stabilize in the first half of the year and little by little possibly come down.
Yeah, so what I see is a broadening of the market. So if you take the equal weighted S&P 500, it might be up 1% for the year. The S&P weighted, because there's these big cap tech stocks in there, is doing much better. 12, 13, 14%. I see a broadening, small cap stocks, a much broadening out. If the market's anticipating rates are coming down, that'll bring risk into the market. The only thing that we don't see is what we don't know. Could there be a black swan event? Could there be an event? Usually when the Fed's cutting rates, it's because there's a problem, right? 1999, boom, bust tech. They raised rates and they had to cut it because it was a big problem. Real estate, they cut rates because it was a big problem. COVID, they cut rates because it was a big problem. This will be the first time in like 20 or 30 years that we're cutting rates not because of a big problem.
But because they don't have to anymore. They
can. Or the big problem is there. What you mentioned earlier was the commercial real estate.
Yes.
And they have to try to
They have to do something.
Right.
It can't sustain this much longer because these places are going under.
Yeah. It's something interesting. When I first met you when I moved here, it might have been in 2017, but it was one of those crisis scenarios with everything was falling apart. And I had just met you, but I said, hey, Bob, what are you doing with your investments? And your comment was, I'm cutting all my losses, taking the tax credits, and I'm off. Meaning you just cleaned it up, and then it cleaned your head up, and you were able to focus and then rebuild from there. And I never forgot that comment, because anytime there's a situation where I'm unsure of what to do, clean it, take the loss, and then reset, because there's always going to be another bull market.
That's right. And that's how I felt about it. I was a huge developer. The market fell apart.
Yeah.
But I say to myself, something? Take a step back.
Right.
Put some tax losses in your bank account.
Right.
So you have them in your piggy
I
bank
call
when
tax
you need
credits.
them. Right. And something? There'll be another market.
Right.
But when it's like, I remember when I first learned how to drive a boat. Okay. And I loved it. And the guy takes me out on the boat and he's teaching me how to maneuver and do this. He said, let me tell you what you're going to do. If you find yourself panicking, put in neutral, idle, and take a deep breath.
Right.
Don't panic.
Right.
When you don't know what to do nothing.
Right.
Rest. Take it easy.
Right.
There will be other chances, as you and I have all seen.
Right.
Anyway.
I want to end off on one note about this club.
Yes.
This club, these tennis rackets, this gym, this spa, has done more for me psychologically than any therapist could do in a million years.
So it wasn't me, it was a club.
Let me just tell you, I wake up, I got a group of guys, 7 to 8 a.m. I'm on the tennis court or I'm in the gym. I'm in the cold plunge. I'm in the steam room sauna. And I start my day every day feeling like
it's unique, isn't it? Yeah.
Even in the worst crashes.
I know.
I'm on the tennis court, I'm in the cold plunge. I start fresh and rejuvenated. So this place is a gift. Like, I still think it's an unknown gift, but there's nothing like this in South Florida.
And we hear the demographics are changing. We're getting a younger crowd.
Yeah.
But they're happy. You walk around here at night, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a place in New York, and I go there every month. I have
Yeah.
business. I walk around, it's like you're looking over your shoulder all the time.
Right.
You come here,
Right.
it's like heaven.
Yeah. My
If
mother.
you went on a vacation,
Yeah.
and your hotel room was where you live,
Right.
and this was the grounds of the hotel, you'd
Yeah.
say, yeah, this is the greatest place in the world I'm going
My
to go
wife
to.
can't get me out of here. I don't want to leave. Where do I want to go?
Where are you going to go?
Right.
Exactly right. Well, I thank you. And by the way, Lonnie not only is our resident, but he's on as I said, he's on the finance committee. He's involved. He's on the board of our community. He's active. He's a member of everything, and he participates.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that, what
Yeah.
you do for us.
I love this place.
And I appreciate today because it's good to get insight. You know, we have so many people that live on the island that are brilliant, and yet we don't really know who we live with. We don't
Right.
know our neighbors.
Right.
And that's why I love doing something like this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you get to know different opinions. Because let's face it, we live in a world of opinions.
Right.
Unfortunately, as much as we say we shouldn't listen to people, we do.
Right.
We listen to what we read, whether it's Fox, whether it's CNN.
Right.
We are a product of social media today. And so it's nice to sit and talk to someone who you can communicate with, because I hope our kids have the same ability one day.
Yeah.
Because you wonder with TV, with
Cell
iPads, with phones, whether they can talk anymore.
Cell phones are the worst.
I'll tell you, I'll end it on one cute story. Two of the kids came home from college. They live in our house. They live at home with me. And mail comes. And I see the mail piling up, and they don't open mail. It's if it doesn't come to their computer, if it doesn't come to their phone, they don't know what to do with an envelope.
Right. Right.
And that's how the world has changed. But
yeah.
anyway, I really thank you for being
Yeah.
with us.
Thank you for.
No, it's
having
our
me on.
pleasure, and
Right.
we'll definitely have you back. I'm going to have you with Larry Thompson, because I want you to meet Larry.
I would love that.
Larry's amazing. He's with the Reserve. He's with the Clearinghouse. He's quite an attorney, a
Right.
special man.
Right.
And I think you two would have a lot of fun together. We'd have fun on
100%.
this.
Love it.
Lottie, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. And good afternoon. Welcome back. We just had an amazing event on the island, the welcome back party for the whole island. And I have to say, it was probably one of the most spectacular evenings we've had here in years. But this doesn't happen by accident. These events take months and months and months of planning. And sometimes there's unsung heroes that do the work that you never see, you never hear about. We hear about the Jeff Klein, we hear about Thaddeus. But aside from that, and obviously they're very important, the worker bees, the people that actually do the work, are the ones that never get the credit. And Natalia, who's been with us for a while now, just came back from having a little baby,
Yes.
and yet literally has worked her heart off to get this going. And you really did have so much to do with the success of that event.
Yes. Thank you.
And before we get into what is happening on the island, because people really don't know you, and we've interviewed so many of the staff to find out a little about them, how did you get into this field?
Whew. I started in hotels. I kind of started off there in food and beverage, running around, seeing the different areas. And I've always had a calling for events. Started working in banquets, and then from there, the assistant for your meetings and events, and evolving. I moved to North Carolina for a few years, and I actually ran weddings. I was a day of coordinator.
so you
to
did
that
all this
extent.
stuff.
All different aspects. Then came back here, the corporate aspects. So always had a big soft spot in my heart for events, and it's fun. I get to run around. I get to do my office time, but I get to also run and have that excitement too on the.
But
for the event.
you remind me of like a cruise director.
Yeah,
You were
you
all
called
over
me
the
that
place. I
before,
mean,
yes.
and you're always with a great attitude and great personality, and nothing seems to faze you. You just, the busier it gets, the better you like it.
It's exciting, and I've always referenced it kind of like the glue of either the hotel or the area, because you have so many connections, whether it's the client or whether it's the vendors coming in to perform or whoever it is, and the departments making sure everyone's aligned for the events and making sure everything runs like the cruise
So
director.
how do you, we want to know your secret. How do you deal with the Thaddeus's and the Jeffs of the world, and then have to deal with 5,000 people who live here? There's got to be a balance.
Work-life balance. I mean, I work hard, but I also enjoy my days off, especially with my little one, and get to disconnect. and
So who
enjoy
drives
that.
you crazy more? The food and beverage, the management, or the residents?
A combination.
Combination. A little of everything. I got you.
It's not that bad.
Okay. Very good political answer. We have to teach Arlene to have those kind of answers. She's pretty blunt. She'll tell. If we asked her that, she'd say I drive her crazy. But anyway, what's going to happen now? We had our event.
Yes.
I know that. We have an exciting year coming up.
Yeah.
And I wanted everyone to hear what's happening coming up in the future in the next couple of months.
Yeah. What I actually see trending differently from when I first got here to now is actually our events are selling out. From the welcome back party, it sold out weeks before, where previously we'd have availability up to the day of. So it's getting good movement. Our jazz nights are selling out. So we're seeing a lot of...
There was one last night I understand.
just
How'd it
last
do?
night, 120 people were
Wow.
signed up for it. So
Amazing.
yeah, so you see it's got a good popularity. It continues through January as well, so it's really good. One thing I'd like to preface the conversation with is if they do want to join the events, please make sure you make your reservations early because everyone's joining our events, which is great news, and we want to make sure that...
No, I
you get a
understand
seat.
New Year's Eve is already sold out.
My point exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. In one day.
Exactly. Yeah. So, starting off the new year, we kick it off on January 4th. We continue the jazz night. So that one's a popular one. Want to make sure we get that RSVP'd. January 5th, we have pickleball exclusive. I don't know if you remember that. We had it at the beginning of the year.
Sure.
So it's
sure.
really cool glow-in-the-dark pickleball tournament that we have. The Monday email has a link so you can see a video clips of everything that happened last year and how much fun it was. We continue to January 16th. That one's going to be a concert style. So we're going to actually be out here in the tennis court with the Bronx Wanderers. That'll be a good one. January 18th, we've got back by popular demand, the Foreign Film Nights, if you recall. This one's going to be limited seating, though. We are going to bring it to the spa fitness room. So
Okay. That's
by
where it's being
reservation
held.
as well.
I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll continue the series from January onward. Last event, the big one to highlight at least in February, we're going to welcome the Florida Grand Opera. We're going to host an event with them as well. So more to come. It'll come out on the Monday email. So that's the biggest thing that you can get all the information, whether it's spa, it's tennis. I'm a big advocate for that because you can't miss it. If you get that email, you're going to know everything that's going on. And I'm not sure if you're aware. Also, we also brought up the WhatsApp groups.
No.
Now you have WhatsApp groups that you can be in food and beverage or spa or CNE events. So you can cater to what kind of information you want to receive and be up to date with that as well. So we're trying to get all the different angles for people to know what's going on.
Wow, how great. So we're going to have a busy year coming up.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be busy.
You got to keep it fun.
And how's it feel being a mother?
Oh, it's amazing. I'm obsessed.
Now you have to juggle your life, don't you? You have
Yeah.
a little baby and you have this going on.
Yeah.
This is your
my
big
work
baby.
baby.
This is your big baby.
Yeah. But it's fun.
Well, I think the most important thing you said is people have to read what's going on and
Yes.
book early
Yes.
so we don't have, because so many people want to do things and it's sold out before they get to it.
Yes.
And they wait and wait and wait.
Yes, or they don't open up the emails perhaps if we're sending the
Yeah,
information
yeah.
now. So it can be a lengthy one depending on how much is going on the island, but at least you're going to get everything that you want to know.
That's great.
And make sure you RSVP.
All right. So I won't keep you. I know you're very busy, but I wanted everyone to see what is coming up in the next few months.
Yeah.
And again, I can't thank you enough. I
thank
know
you.
you're
Thank
one
you
of
for
the
having me
you're
back.
one of our little secret sauces here that you run around and it happens. We never know who you are.
Yeah.
But I wanted the people to see because it is an important, it's probably the most important job here. You have 5,000 family members here.
Yeah. It's
So
a busy island.
it
Be
is.
busy though.
And then you got to take care of the guys in there, keep them happy.
Yeah. Keep the whole show running.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is our little girl, Natalia, who's now Mother Natalia, and doing an amazing job for the island. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a
Okay.
great day.
Have a great day. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back, and thank you for waiting. A lot of what goes on here, it's hard to put into words because there's so much, it's so fluid what's happening on the island right now. I mean, we've just opened up and the reason we're sitting out here today is we just opened up the cafe. We have the gelato and we have all the new grab and go. We're in the middle of construction going on with the new clubhouse, and that seems to be right on track, moving along beautifully. But what's also happening is the demographics are changing on the island, and it's almost like a whole new world is happening here. Jeff was brought on, Jeff Klein became our COO about a year and a half ago, isn't it?
March will be 2 years, Bob.
2 years.
2 years,
Oh
yeah.
my God. So the question I first have for you, because we talked, took me 3 months, 4 months before I could steal them away. But from the time you came here to now, you came here with certain expectation. You came here analyzing what we had and what you thought you could do. But now you look at it now, and it's almost like, okay, your job's starting all over again. It's a whole new world here. It's a new everything. What has changed? How do you look at it differently than it was when you first started?
Well, first and foremost, when I got here, I was excited. I wanted to make quick changes, make immediate impact. I came in guns blazing, bull in the china shop. So for starters, I'll tell you, I'm far more relaxed 19 months later. And I think
And you did hear him say bull in a china shop.
Yeah, and that's like any new experience, right? You just you want to make impact and you want your presence to be known. But I'll tell you, it's like we sit back and we analyze things a little differently. We're doing a lot of listening. We're asking a lot of questions to the residents, and Arlene and the communications team have taken a great approach where we've reached out, we've created WhatsApp groups. We are trying to understand from the residents what it is that the residents want here at Williams Island. In a lot of businesses, you create a business plan and your plan dictates the outcome of your business. At Williams Island, the residents are dictating the outcome.
That's right.
And it's really critical for the team to understand what that looks like. And you use the word demographic change. Well, we have more kids on the island today than we did 18 months ago,
my God, yeah.
5 years ago. And we've developed an entire family program that 2 years ago and 5 years ago was minimalistic, but it's taken on a life of its own.
Yes.
And it's because that's what the residents are asking for.
Sure.
So to answer your question, we're assessing before we make decisions. We're not just doing the things that have always been done, and we're doing things based on what the residents are asking for.
All right. So to go back to my question, when you came here, you had one set of expectations. What was Williams Island about? Am I going to like it there? Did I make the right move? Obviously. How does that change? How's your thought process today?
Oh, looking back, I sort of kick myself that I didn't make this decision earlier in my career.
Right.
I think I said this to you when you first hired me. Williams Island is a diamond, and over the years, like anything, it lost its luster. No fault to anybody's, just things lose their luster, they lose their excitement. And when I got here, my first thing I said to you was, my job is very simple. I just have to figure out how to polish the diamond. And I think we're well on the way. I mean, I'm extremely happy with where we are today. I absolutely love it here. It's become part of my family and not only my career, but my everyday. But know that I'm not satisfied. And that's the mantra that I sort of instill in the team. Like, it's great to be happy where we work, but let's not ever be satisfied, because the minute you become satisfied,
right,
then you become complacent, and then the diamond loses its luster, and then you have to start all over.
And complacency causes failure.
That's right. So let's polish the diamond and then continually polish it and preserve the luster, rather than losing the luster and polishing it, just preserving the luster. It's sort
So
of
you
the
feel you
mantra.
made the right decision.
Oh, yeah. Not only on a professional level, but on a personal level. I love to spend time with my wife and my two children and follow their soccer careers, and being here, a lot more autonomy and the ability to travel, stay connected to work. And
by the way, not to interrupt, but when you hear the expression soccer mom, it usually refers to somebody who's driving a big SUV with 7 seats in it. This is a real soccer mom, because he's got 2 daughters that truly are successful in their field of soccer.
Yeah, and it's not SUVs. We're on planes.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're literally flying around the country, supporting them. And this opportunity at Williams Island has given me a better opportunity to be a better husband and a better father. And ultimately, because I'm happier at home, I'm significantly happier at work.
So going to the new projects we're doing now, obviously people are asking, what do you think time-wise? And I hate to give a time frame, and I know you do too.
2028.
Sounds
Sounds
great.
good?
I like that.
5 years in the makings?
It's fair.
Yeah. No, look, we're right on schedule. The project kicked off last June or July. We're right on schedule. There's a lot of work being done. It's a 40-plus year building, so obviously we found some things that
So you feel
we didn't
comfortable
expect.
by the end of the year?
Yeah.
10 to 24.
Yeah, look, I think it's too soon to say to the date, but I'm comfortable with a Q4 turnover. on the project. The construction team and the owner's rep doing a tremendous job for us.
Great. I want to talk about a few things that are going to be coming up because we have our December meeting, which is our annual meeting. And of course, aside from the fact that it's the annual meeting, we select our new offices for the coming year and the new board seats, etc. It's also the time of the year where we want people to volunteer to get onto committees, become part of the tennis committee, the C&E committee, the finance committee, and legal committee, etc. Involvement is so critical in what we do here, and getting people to be a part of it is one of the biggest issues we always have. And it's so important now, as you know, because Jeff really sits with all these committees and works together with them. But to go to what you said, the input of the residents, that is the place to give us input. We will listen. We will have a change made. I mean, the committees that we have are fantastic.
Yeah,
They
and
do amazing things.
And there's been a bit of a paradigm shift. And I think maybe in years past, committee represented, oh, that's going to be a lot of work. And what I've asked the POA operation team is to really take the workload away from the committee. These committees it's ideology, it's coming up with ideation, thinking about things that we should do differently, adding different types of events, doing things differently in the tennis community. And then it's the responsibility of the POA team to bring all these things to life. So when a C&E committee works diligently through the process to help create an event, we don't ask them to work the event. We want them to come and enjoy the fruits of their labor, where in the past, they were at the registration table and they never felt like they could enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I'm asking for the support because the more people that give us ideas and advise us, the better the outcomes of all of these things are. And we need new
We do.
residents. We
Absolutely.
need new ideas. We need new involvement. We just talked about the community being younger and more kids. Well, that means younger families. So if you're a new resident on the island, you have a young family, don't be afraid to get involved. Like, we're looking
Right.
for it. We really
Well,
want it.
and that goes to the fact that we are getting a younger crowd. What we want, for those of you listening, you don't realize that if you would call the office, whether it's Natalia, whether it's Arlene, whether it's Jeff's office, we will meet you. The spa will take you to the spa. They'll introduce you to the spa. They'll take you through a workout session. They'll do an evaluation. We have people in the office that will show you around the island and get into all of the amenities that we have here. They don't understand we have all of this, and no matter how much we communicate it, especially because we have such a younger crowd moving in, it's wonderful. Many of the things we intended to do in the clubhouse, in the new clubhouse, we are changing our thought process as you are, because
Absolutely.
you have to come up with a whole new operational plan.
That's right. And one of the key words that we're focused on this year is engagement. And it's really about how our team interacts with the residents and how the residents interact with each other.
Yeah.
Look, we're sitting on the courtside patio. When I first got here, this was the tennis patio. And the only people that really hung out on this patio were the people that were playing tennis. I feel bad for those that play tennis on Saturday, because when they're done playing, there's not a seat to be had.
No.
Because the community has brought
No.
this courtside patio to life as a place of engagement and a place of meeting. And that's what we're looking for throughout the community.
And to add to that, we're sitting here now doing this taping, and we've sat here for about an hour. And I'm going to say that in this hour, we probably had 100 people in and out of the courtside, call it cafe for a better word.
That's right.
While we're just sitting talking, getting a cup of coffee, getting a gelato, getting a sandwich, playing tennis, walking around. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the question you asked me earlier about being here now versus when I first got here. What I love the most is when the board commits to something, it happens.
Yes.
Right? This was a vision, and you made it work in a temporary fashion, but then you guys had a vision about separating the deli from the pro shop, and you allowed my team and I to bring it to life, and you're witnessing it, right? It's
Yep.
busy, the revenue's gone up, the offering has grown tremendously. And again, it's the resident experience and the resident memory that we're trying to create that's really gotten better in the last 17 or 18 months.
Yes. Well, and I have to say a lot of it has to do with you and what you've done with our team. And what's beautiful about it is it's the same team we've had here.
Yeah,
it's just reevaluating, processing, putting them into where they do best.
absolutely. For me, it's it's paving the way
Yeah.
and working with the board to understand the vision and then creating a pathway for experts to do their jobs. And, like every organization, I serve as a coach.
Yeah.
I'm here to make the team better. I'm here to help them grow. I'm here to make their jobs easier and ultimately make the island a better experience.
Well, you've accomplished that.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we
you.
will continue to accomplish it. We have a board of directors that's, to me, second to none. I think what they do is amazing. We work together. In fact, we have our elections coming up, as I said, in a few weeks. But you're our quarterback.
Thank you.
You're who we
it.
depend on.
As long as I don't tear an Achilles, I'm good.
Well, no. We're gonna keep you safe. We'll let.
Thank you.
You have enough with your daughters. You don't need it yourself.
Thank you.
Anyway, I want to thank you
Thanks.
so much for everything.
Thanks, Bob.
We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Welcome back. And I don't think an introduction is necessary for our Williams Island, Florida Riviera Spa Director.
It's a new
Carrie.
sweatshirt.
It is. I like that
Supporting
sweatshirt with a
the new
little hoodie.
sweatshirt.
I need one of those.
Okay.
I like this. Anyway, hi, Carrie.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
So what's going on? You have a big party coming up, I hear.
We have a great party.
Next week.
Next week is our Spa Day party. It's our annual party. It's always on the second Thursday of December, 6:30 to 8:30. Winter Wonderland. We're asking everyone to wear silver and white. Everyone's got their dress already in the spa.
See, I wore my white
people.
already, just
You did,
anticipation
that's
of
right.
it.
You just got to get the
I'm ready
silver
to go.
going.
I know.
It's going to be a great time. It always is a great party. A lot of dancing. Just a really nice time to share with the members and give our appreciation back for coming to the spa and using our services. And it's a really good time.
The reason I wanted to talk to you today is mainly for information to the residents. The other day you were working at, I introduced you to some guy who had just moved in the island and had no clue about anything on the island.
Okay.
And it made me realize how many more people are like this, because
Right.
we have gone through such a demographic change. And I see people in the gym, and I'm doing whatever I can, but they don't know the equipment, they don't know who to talk to, they don't know. And I said to this guy when I introduced him to you, I said, if you would come in, what do we do to introduce people? What can we do to, because I don't think that people realize what opportunities they have available to them.
Yes, it's not just a spa.
Right.
We have all of our services, our massages, our facials, and we have a plethora of services just there. All of our amenities that we have, the med spa that we have, and then of course fitness and the classes and assessments and nutrition, and we offer a lot. So typically what happens is if they go to the front desk, I will come out and meet with them and either do an orientation myself and show them around, or the front desk will give them a tour.
But the question is, not to interrupt, but the question is, most times people are shy. So they'll just walk in, they say, I'm a member, but unfortunately they don't say, I'm a new member, can I talk to somebody?
Right.
How do we, I think we have to get Arlene involved a little bit, because there's so many new residents and you have so much to offer there.
Yes.
It's amazing. You have a plethora of events that you could get people involved.
Sure. So now and then I go to Joy in membership and I ask her for the last month or 2 months of new members, and then we call them and ask them to come in. But sometimes a phone call is, nobody likes to pick up their phone.
I know.
I don't like to pick up my phone. So, but sometimes we get them in and offer them an orientation. So there's a lot of different ways, but yes, we could do an event. We could do.
Is there something maybe we could put on the desk, free orientation for new members or something? I'm just saying because I'm hearing it so much.
Yes.
And I feel bad because people really don't know who to talk to, who to go to. And there's so much there. And I hate to bother you because you're in the middle of class and I come barging in with somebody,
I'm barging in.
I do.
But
I do
but that's
that.
fine. That's fine. That's what we're here for. So,
Yeah.
So sure, we could put a sign on the front
Something.
desk and say, "Are you a new member? Let us show you around."
And to the people that are listening, utilize, Carrie is there, Broadway Jackie is there.
Jackie. Yeah.
There's
we have a
so
lot
many.
Of Jackies.
We do have a lot of Jackies, don't we?
hanging around there. Yeah.
Arlene in the office could help them. I'm just saying it's just such a shame because we have so much going on there, and it's almost
Right.
impossible to tell everyone everything.
It is, unless you're in there every day or really look at your app, right? Get your app. That's, number
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
right?
Get your app. I know.
I mean, it's a lot, but once you get into the mix, I think it's,
All right. Well, we have to work on that. And it's not thing we're doing wrong. It's I think people don't know where to go, and unfortunately, when somebody moves in the building,
right.
the communication breaks down,
Yeah.
and they don't notify us.
Right. Well, because
And-
people don't go to their mailboxes. We put everything at the mailboxes, but a lot
know,
of
they
people
don't
don't
know.
check their mail.
No.
So, yeah, it's a challenge. Yeah.
What do you think is doing the best in there now? I mean, the classes obviously do great, but I mean, do you feel
Personal training is always the rock star.
it is?
Massages, and then facials, in that order. Yeah, personal training is
And the
is
therapy
great.
department is doing amazing.
Yeah,
It's
physical therapy is
Wow.
great. They're offering a bunch of workshops for us.
Oh, they are?
They
Great.
have 2 classes a week to get to know the therapist. So we have a lot going on. We have nutrition workshops that are scheduled until the end of season. So the physical therapy, the nutrition workshops, we have kids stuff. Kids stuff are very busy. We have up to 30, 35 kids per event
Really?
for small events. And then we just had a
fantastic.
carnival that had 110.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
You do amazing
We're
stuff.
busy.
You
Yeah.
are busy.
You should come in more often.
So what do you? I should come in more. No, Carrie doesn't want me in more because as soon as I come in, I barge in her office, I drive her crazy, and then she forgets what she's doing.
Yeah, well, maybe.
But I will tell you, you clean up well.
Thank you.
We ran into Carrie at the jazz concert the other night, and I'll tell you, looked pretty good. Pretty good.
We all have 2 sides.
We do have 2 sides, and we have the musical side for you
Yeah.
and this. Anyway, I thank you. I just wanted to get an update of what's going on. And
Okay.
the party especially. The party is what night?
Next Thursday at 6:30.
Now, is that open to everybody? Do they have to sign?
Members. Yes, they need to
Yeah.
sign up. They need
Okay.
to sign up so we know how many to expect.
Okay.
It is free of charge, but yes, they need to sign
And they are a lot of fun. I've been to them, and you will enjoy them.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, but you must dress up. You have to dress up.
It's a dress up deal. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll let you go back.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. We'll be right back. I hope you enjoyed today. It was great meeting with Carrie, meeting Natalia, meeting with Lonnie, meeting with Jeff. And this is just a little of what's going on. I want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to you being part of everything that we do in Williams Island. Have a wonderful holiday.